Hey guys, so Rebels review for the 2018 season. Sorry, I'm in a Waratahs shirt. Don't have a Rebels one, but I have got the Rebels cap on today, so respect there. Also forgot to bring my Rebels magnet, so not a great start. Do let me know how the sound goes on this one, guys. I know some guys have been saying they can hear a high-pitched kind of squeaking sound. I can't hear it. Some people can't hear it, but some of you guys definitely can. It may just be this building. I'm on a different floor. I'm about 4 floors up from where I was last time, so hopefully that will kind of get rid of that issue. But if it's still appearing, then I guess I'll just have to do my recording back at home. This is my works building, so I'm doing this on my lunch break. Yeah, fingers crossed. This floor's okay, but like I said, if not, let me know, and I'll go back to doing them at home. So the Rebels for 2018. Finished with a record of 7 wins and 9 losses, which is a massive improvement from last season. Last season was one to forget. This one was also close to making the playoffs. They were level on points with the Sharks, who ended up with that happy trip to Christchurch. But yeah, it would have been a great achievement if the Rebels had made it. Not quite there, but not far away. Second overall in the Aussie Conference is also a big step up. At the start of the season especially, they really looked like challenging, and it just kind of fell away at the end, but still, I think overall it's been a pretty decent season for the Rebels. We'll start with the good. What went well for the Rebels? Well, they were 4th overall for run meters, so they were doing something right with the ball. They were 3rd overall for getting over the advantage line, so that kind of goes hand in hand with your run meters. When you're getting front foot ball, getting forward, and a guy like Amanaki Mafi is probably a large part in getting those run meters. They were 5th for building 7 or more phases, so they were looking after the ball when they were attacking with it. And in terms of the line out, it was solid without being spectacular. They were 6th overall in terms of their line out win percentage, and they were 5th overall at winning the opposition line out. So kind of your line out's all right, running game's all right. Where did it go wrong? The goal kicking was not good. They were 14th overall, above only the Brumbies at 68%. So Hodge has got a big boot, and he can kick them from halfway, but it's not always that accurate. Debrasini, his boot is kind of hot and cold. So no real outstanding goal kicker is a concern. They were 5th overall for line breaks conceded. The tackle stats are actually not too bad. It's just when the opposition was managing to get through the line, it was happening a bit too often. 1st overall for conceding penalties. And I'm going to point my finger a little bit at Amanaki Mafi. He's a guilty party in this. And also that scrum, which was exposed at times against teams which had strong scrums. The Rebels were sometimes guilty of giving away penalties there, so that didn't help. And another discipline thing, 1st overall equal for yellow cards. They had 10 yellow cards in the season, which was 16 games. So, yeah, not a great look. And one that's perhaps not a negative, but it's a strategy thing. 13th for offloads. But, if you're, 5th overall for going 7+ phases, maybe they're looking to build phases rather than to find that space with offloads. So it was interesting kind of strategic thing. I guess every team should be offloading when they can. Perhaps that's something they can improve on next season, but wasn't something that was this season. Good players who had standout seasons. Jack, isn't it? Maddox had 9 tries in the season, which was right up there with some of the top try scorers. Guinea led the way with tries, assists compared to the games he played, and Amanaki Mafi, like I said, with those run meters, runs, tackle busts, he was just kind of everywhere. I said the scrum was exposed at times. Finding the solution at number 10 seemed to be an issue with the Rebels. They started off the season with Debrasini, and they kind of shifted to Hodge throughout the season. Kind of not ideal. That might be solved for next season, but I'll get to that in a minute. So that kind of goes with the goal kicking and the playmaking, if you can kind of get that number 10 embedded and make him your first choice. Highlights for the season. Well, the start of the season is pretty much a highlight in itself. They won 4 out of their first 5 games. They beat the Reds, the Sunwolves, the Brumbies, and the Sharks. They did lose that one to the Waratahs, but then the wheels kind of fell off a bit. Also, their away win against the Blues in New Zealand. Blues, not a great team, but to get a win in New Zealand was definitely a big confidence boost. And in the scheme of things for that season, it was a crucial win. Like it put them really in that playoff race. It didn't end up happening for them, but when they needed to get a win, they got a win. Now, lowlights. Another time when they needed to get a win and didn't get a win was that Week 18 game against the Reds. I think that game would have secured them a playoff spot, and they didn't even get close. It was 37-23, so not good. Just kept the Sharks in the race, basically. And then they had to go the next week to play the Highlanders down to Dunedin, which was never going to be easy. Also, that Week 7 clash when the Rebels were flying high and they were playing the Hurricanes, who were also flying pretty high. Both sides had lost one game. It was in Melbourne. It was the first Aussie-New Zealand clash of the season, and it was 50 points to 19 in Melbourne. It kind of brought the Rebels season back down to earth. It was kind of, how far can these guys go? Maybe they're still a cut below those top teams. Speaking of the top teams, for the Rebels, I mean, I said they got 7 wins. 6 of those wins came against teams who finished below them on the table. So teams finishing 10th to 15th. You know, they beat the teams like the Sunwolves, the Brumbies, Blues, all teams who finished kind of at the bottom, the Reds. The one win they got against the team above them was the Sharks, and the Sharks finished 8th. So from teams 1 to 7, the Rebels were unable to get a result. That is a key area that needs to change next season. If you're going to compete with the big boys, you've got to start beating the big boys. I guess recruitment's going to be a part of that. If you've been following the news, Aussie Rugby at the minute, Matt Tamua is back in Australia. He signed I think it's a 2-year deal with the Rebels starting, I think, next season. But he's got to finish up his time with Leicester Tigers first. So that could answer that question at number 10. He kicks all right. I think he's 76% this season in England, so solid goal kicker without being spectacular, but could answer that question. Begs the question, what happens with Hodge? Does he move back to the midfield? He's a versatile player, so he can pretty much play anywhere. Also, they're losing Murphy, who's their kind of key guy. Heading back to Japan, not ending the way they would like to with his kind of incident with Lopeti Tamani, but they've brought in Nasarani from the Brumbies, so kind of a like-for-like player, a guy who likes to run the ball. So hopefully he can kind of do a job for them in that position. In terms of guys who are on contract, you've got Guinea, Coleman, Phillip, most of the props are still staying, Billy Meeks, Hodge, Naivalu, all these guys are on, Dan Hilapeti, Maddox, and the coach Dave Vessels. These guys are all on board for next season, so that's kind of your core group. Leadership group, some senior guys and some young guys as well. But there's still the question with guys like Korobidi. What's going to happen with him? I believe he's off contract at the end of the season, so pretty much now. Fainga is leaving. Like I said, Murphy's leaving. Tamani's leaving. What are they going to do with Ruru? Because Guinea, whilst he was good, he didn't play that. I think he played 8 games. So they're going to need a capable backup just in case Guinea goes down. So Ruru seemed to kind of fill those shoes better and better as the season went on. So hopefully he can kind of sign up. But I guess they'll explore those options. And also the question of hooker. I don't think they've got any hookers on contract for next season. Rangi seemed to be a pretty good solution. Bit fiery, but I think he's got the right stuff. So I guess it looks like a pretty promising road that the Rebels are on. Dave Vessel seems to have a plan. I mean, credit to the guy. He did an amazing job of bringing the Force players, the Rebels players, and new players all together. Like, there was probably very few teams which had as much of a shift as the Rebels had. So to get 9th and be only within points difference at the playoffs, you got to give credit to that Rebels team. They really did a fantastic job. The coaching staff got a lot out of them. If they can just take it that next step forward next season, I would say things are looking up. So I think overall, if you're a Rebels fan, hopefully those really hard times are over and it's kind of looking like progress is being made. But we will see. That Aussie Conference could well be a fair bit more competitive next year with the Brumbies and the Reds both kind of finishing the season on a high. So it will not be easy, but we'll see how they go. You guys let me know your thoughts on how the Rebels went. Please let me know how the sound is in this room. If it is still stuffed, like I say, I'll go back to filming at home. I've ordered a light which shouldn't give us much glare, so I can record perhaps at night at home. I like doing it here because it's still daylight and I can take advantage of that. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.